Welcome everybody to the War and Peace Baseball Podcast. Here today with our Bode Markazi, Alex Rudy. I'm Alex Uwe, and we are here today on our 1-year anniversary. Woohoo!
Yeah.
You guys seem excited. Yeah, 1 year ago today we
from 0 subscribers to I think
4.
Damn.
Yeah, making our way in the world. But no, really though, I think we've done a lot of good things in this last year. I think we're a lot more experienced, obviously. I was listening to our first one the other day, and we were even more lifeless than we are now, so.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead and do what we do, talk about some baseball. There's a lot of off-season happenings. Winter meetings happened earlier this week, so there's plenty to talk about. We are going to talk about some of the bigger trades and then rattle off some of the smaller deals. And then we'll talk about our teams of the week, the Cubs and the Braves, who were very active in these winter meetings. So let's go ahead and start out with a move the Cubs made recently. They signed Jason Heyward to an 8-year, $184 million contract. We'll talk about more of the contract details in a minute, but just why do you think the Cubs decided to go after a guy like Heyward?
I believe that they felt like they need to make another big splash, get their team over the hump. And I agree with them that their outfield last year was probably not cutting it. I think they realized that Soler, Fowler, Schwarber, each one of those players have clear weaknesses, and they have one standout guy who they could probably count in night in, night out to be both a positive at the plate and a positive in the outfield. And I think that they also saw a chance to take away from their biggest rival division. So
yeah, I think the weird part is that, I think it's pretty clear they're going to make Jason Heyward a center fielder, which you were telling me that you don't agree with, but that seems like the consensus is that Heyward's going to make a seamless transition to center field. He did play some games for the Cardinals in center field with all their outfield troubles, and I don't think it's going to be a problem. He's like the most athletic outfielder I can think of, so I don't think there's a problem there. I think it is odd, though, the way they approached this contract. They signed him to an 8-year deal, but there's an opt-out after 3 years, after the third and fourth year. So he will be a free agent again when he's like 29 years old, so he can make a lot more money if he wants. So
I mean, okay.
Which he will. He's going to opt out. Unless he has major injuries that are probably career changing or ending or borderline ending. There's really no reason for him to not opt out. So it's really a 3-year contract. I think you really have to take it that way, and that's why. They offered him the most money per year, which is why he took that plus the opt outs. Even though that the Nationals and the Cardinals offer more total money. So it made sense for both sides. But I think it's interesting. I think it's a very interesting kind of all-in now move from the from the Cubs. Sorry, considering that they're still a young developing team in many positions. Yet this kind of deal points like, especially if they move another one of their young players to bolster the pitching, it points to an all-in, all now. We're going for the World Series this year.
I don't know about you guys, but after I saw the deal, there were two things that I saw most on any baseball show I watched or on Twitter. Cubs are scary good. That was the first one. The second one was they overpaid for this. But for me, I don't think this is an overpay at all, considering what'd you say?
I just don't really see how people thought they overpaid.
I don't see it as an overpay, considering at the point where the market is right now. And last year he had the 5th highest WAR combined among position players, if you look at it that way, with only Trout, Donaldson, Goldschmidt, and Beltre ahead of him. So he's a good hitter, and he's only 26.
5th highest what?
WAR among position players. Combined WAR.
Oh, okay.
And I said the guys that were ahead of him, and he's only 26, meaning he hasn't hit his prime yet. So I think this is a great deal, and for him, yeah, I completely agree. It's a 3-year deal because there's no way he wouldn't opt out unless he has major problems.
And something else interesting is the other main contender for him ended up being the Washington Nationals, and that is a really weird team to go after a young outfielder, considering their outfield is full for the most, they're pretty much full. They have Bryce Harper, they have Jason Worth in the corners, and then they have Michael Taylor, who I think is ready to play center field for that team.
Yeah, he definitely is.
I actually disagree 100%. I don't think Michael Taylor will ever be more than a replacement level player.
Really?
I don't think he didn't show last year that he'd be anything more than that, so I don't know why this year he'd be. He seems to me like a very Delino Shields type, very mediocre type of guy. I know you're.
Well, yeah, but this is a little bit different. He's a young guy that is kind of trying to find his stride. He's a lot more potential than a guy like Delino Shields. Michael Taylor has a lot more power in his bat, a lot more athleticism, which he definitely did show during the season with the Nationals.
I don't know. I don't think he's quite that.
I think it's just he's here and he's got all the potential needed to be a good center fielder.
I mean, he's 24, which is not that young. And
it's pretty young. His 24 is pretty young. Let's not
172 at bats. He had 14 home runs. Okay, he only had in 472 at bats. He only had 41 extra base hits, and he hit 229 and had an on-base percentage of 282. That's terrible. That
is pretty bad.
Offensive player. He's 6'3".
We're so used
to only hit 14 home runs and only have 17 other extra base hits that aren't home runs. That's not a very good player.
We're just so used to all the young players that have been coming up in recent years, like the George Springers, Carlos Correas, and Chris Bryant, that have been having amazing seasons right off the. That's not how it works for a lot of players, though. I think we've gotten spoiled by all these breakout
being
talents.
More than a Dexter Fowler type level player.
I think he'll be better than Dexter Fowler. I'll give him that
much. Fowler's pretty good, but
I think Dexter Fowler's fair, but I think he'll be slightly better. I think he'll be slightly better.
Okay, so we ended up talking about the Nationals. Let's get back to the Cubs. They also went out this week and signed John Lackey and Ben Zobrist. Lackey got 2 years, $32 million, and Ben Zobrist got 4 years, $56 million. So there's some interesting pieces to plug in there. John Lackey is probably going to pitch 3 in that rotation as of right now. And then Zobrist is an interesting case because he doesn't necessarily have one spot, which is kind of how he's been used before. He's going to be a utility player, it seems, because you can plug him in at second base instead of Javier Baez. You can plug him in left field for Kyle Schwarber, and you can plug him in right field if for some reason you need that there. So
you don't think he's going to play every day?
He will. I think he will in some respect. He's the utility guy that plays every day. Think about his Tampa Bay Rays days.
Yeah, for sure.
With Joe Madden.
In my opinion, this is an underrated, really bad contract.
For who?
For the Cubs.
Why?
Because they didn't need him at all, and they're going to be paying him until he's 38, and he has no clear skill that you're going to say, wow, I know for a fact that guy's going to age well. I mean, he's not exactly extremely athletic, or isn't exactly
what? Wait,
Ben Zobrist.
You're telling me that Ben Zobrist is not athletic?
I said extremely.
Okay, it takes quite a bit of athleticism to play 4 different positions over the course of a year.
And very good.
No, it doesn't. It just takes skill. It doesn't do with athleticism.
What?
Andrew Uribe plays 9 positions, and he's not athletic.
Okay, that's also not true. And what?
Juan Uribe played short, second, first, third, and I think left.
Not in the same year, right?
No, I don't think he's played that in the same year.
Ben Zobrist.
Why does it matter if it's in the same year?
Just the way you say that, he has skill but not athleticism.
He's not extremely athletic.
He's not
That's not the same thing as saying he has no athleticism. Obviously, if he had no athleticism, he wouldn't be a Major League Baseball player that was just signed a 4-year, $52 million deal at age 34.
I think over his career, he's an above average athlete.
Okay, my main point is that if you guys think that over the next 4 years, he's a better player than Starlin Castro, who's going to be
sure.
half as much?
Sure, for the Cubs, sure.
Yeah.
I think that's 100% not true. I really disagree with that. I think their money would have been much better spent on a pitcher. I don't think he makes really any difference in their team.
He's definitely not a guy that teams say, oh yeah, we definitely need him, that would go out and get him. But he's a guy that teams need.
No, the Mets definitely needed him.
There are certain teams.
Clearly they didn't need Ben Zobrist.
They did trade for a second baseman instead. But
what I'm trying to say is that he's not the guy that teams go out and say, oh, he's one of the top of the line, obviously, and we need to go and get him. But he's a guy that teams necessarily need just in case. I don't know. He's the utility thing and the ability to play several positions with pretty good defense at each position and hit a decent, solid average. I think that's pretty valuable for especially a manager like Joe Madden.
Okay, you're telling me you would rather pay him 4 years, 52 until he's 38 than pay Starlin Castro 4 years, 38, who's only 25? I mean, that's not true. You would rather do Starlin.
No, I just said I would rather do Ben Zobrist.
I completely disagree.
Because
I don't
the thing is,
he's not going to be a good player at age 38. There's just no way.
Well, let's talk in 4 years then, and then we'll have the same conversation.
And you're blocking
again.
your best prospect in Javier Baez from playing every day.
They're not blocking. Zobrist isn't blocking anybody.
Okay,
he's giving the club options.
Okay, where's Baez going to play with Hayward and Zobrist in the lineup? Whereas you either have to not play Soler, Baez, or Schwarber. So which one aren't you playing?
Baez will play second base regularly, I'm pretty sure.
Or Zobrist play regularly?
Zobrist can play right field, he can play left field, he can play second base when Baez needs it.
What if Soler, Baez, and Schwarber won't play regularly then? And that's just a waste. You just waste.
No, it gives, depth is always a good thing. Okay?
Depth having so many guys isn't necessarily a bad problem
to have. You would sign a guy for 4 years, 52 for depth.
It's 56, and that's not, think about that contract, think about that annual salary, they're not paying him a star everyday player's contract salary.
I never said he did, but they treated a guy who's already just as good as him, who's making half his last and is 10 years younger.
I don't think Castro provided much for the Cubs at this point.
I think
if anything, Castro would have blocked Baez even more. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. You see what I mean? Zobrist his diversity, his utility position, his ability to play all over the field gives them options.
I don't think that this was the best use of their resources. I think it forced them to trade a young infielder who was playing, who can play two of the weakest positions in baseball. It was on a team-friendly contract, and he was a 3-time All-Star for a 6th starter. I mean, that is not good use of your value. And I just think they have 2 pitchers. Their 4 and 5s are barely replacement value pitchers. I just don't think they properly used their resources to improve as well as they could have this offseason. I don't think Zobrist was the move that they needed the most.
All right. So I think that's enough for what the Cubs have done right there. We'll talk about them a little bit more in their future going forward when we talk about our teams of the week. But next, let's talk about the Braves. They have done a lot this offseason in getting a lot of young talent. This trade that the Diamondbacks made with the Braves is one of the most bizarre trades I've ever seen.
Yep.
The Braves trade away Shelby Miller and this other prospect, Spire, for the Diamondbacks, Dansby Swanson and Inciarte and Aaron Blair. Two of the Arizona Diamondbacks first round picks in the last 2 years, including the number 1 overall pick of this year's draft, along with another starting outfielder.
They also, I think it's important with context. Remember that earlier this offseason, the Diamondbacks traded them Bronson Arroyo, for to the Diamondbacks. To the Braves in a big deal. I believe that in that deal, they gave up Touki Toussaint, who was their first round pick in 2014. So they've traded 3 years in a row of first round picks to the Diamondbacks have traded their last 3 first round picks all to the Braves.
That's unbelievable.
I think you should just count that as addition to this trade. And that Bronson Arroyo trade was just to get rid of his contract, which was 2 years, 23.5 guaranteed. It was only when they traded him, he was on the last deal of his contract, guaranteed. So they basically got rid of a first round draft pick to get rid of a guy who was coming off the books at the end of that season anyways.
Yeah.
And then, wait, one more thing. And then I just wanted to say, and I'll shut up, sorry, is that I think a lot of people, including me, had doubted how the Braves, were, managing this team. 3 years ago, they were one of the best teams in baseball. They've made some really bizarre moves since then. I think a lot of people at least thought so, including me. And I was really doubting them trading their whole core away, even though I thought they were just a couple moves away from going back to contention, even though their rotation had been decimated from injuries. But after this recent offseason of moves, I gotta say, I think they've done an outstanding job in turning their young player value into much more value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we'll talk more about the Braves when we talk about our teams of the week. I'm not going to pretend to understand the Diamondbacks in what they're doing, but there's been a little bit of discussion about how good is Shelby Miller going to be.
That's what I was going to ask. At this point, do you guys think he's a 2 or is he like a 1, 2, or 3?
He's depending on if he's going to pitch like he pitched last year or how he pitched in 2014, he's going to be either a 2 or a 3. I know for a fact that I think Fangraphs has Mike Leake having more WAR next year than him.
Okay.
I know it's obviously just the website's prediction, and predictions cannot mean shit sometimes in baseball, but I think that's just very interesting that they could have signed a generally equivalent player for let's say $70 million over 5 years. Is that reasonable? 4 years?
And they still might.
And not trade any. No, they said they're not interested in him anymore. I saw that today.
Really?
Even though he's willing to take a big discount to go to them because he lives in Arizona.
That's crazy.
But my point is they could have signed probably a roughly equivalent guy without trading anything away. I would say Shelby Miller is a higher ceiling than him, but maybe for let's say next season they probably have a reasonably equivalent value.
Okay, so my thing is, you guys said he's a 2 or a 3. He's a rare. But look at Inciarte. Just alone, he hit 300, stole 21 bags, had 29 runs saved defensively. He had a 5 WAR. Don't yell at me, but couldn't you have essentially traded Inciarte plus a lesser touted player, and straight up for Miller instead of, giving up 2 first round picks and still giving both teams what they needed?
Yes.
Yeah, and this is the case where I think the best move would have been no move for the Diamondbacks. But they felt like they needed to make a splash, and they did, and I think they took a splash in a 3-foot deep pool, and now they broke their legs.
I think overall,
that's very well said.
Thank you, sir.
Overall, kudos to John Hart, because
this whole deal makes me really angry. It's really the Diamondbacks.
Get heated, Rudy.
Hey, we should just start every podcast with this deal to get us excited.
Unleash the beast.
I used to tell Uwe a lot. I think 2 years ago before we did this podcast, when we first just started becoming really good friends, talking about Major League Baseball, was how much I hated Kevin Towers and what he was doing to the Diamondbacks. He traded Justin Upton for nothing. He completely mismanaged their draft.
To the Braves too.
Yeah, to the Braves too. Yeah, the Braves and the Diamondbacks, I think, have some collusion going on. It sounds like. He just made a host of bad moves. He traded who's the center fielder for the White Sox?
Adam
Sorry, who was a very well touted young center fielder who in baseball circles he was like a player that everyone was looking forward to. He was like an underrated guy. That they're excited to see. And he traded him for Addison Reed, who
he also traded for Mark Trumbo, who was a disaster there.
Yeah, so and then he got fired. And I was excited for the Diamondbacks. I was kind of like, okay, there's some hope now. Maybe they can, recover from this terrible GM who set them back 4 years. And it looks like he possessed the body of the new GM because this is the worst trade I think I've seen in recent memory. There's really no defense that's logical or fair. They just completely fucked up and mismanaged their value. And I feel bad for Diamondbacks fans. I mean, the Green Tea deals is not a good deal either, to be honest, as much as I think as much as you can say next year he'll be an awesome pitcher. I mean, that's just, in a vacuum, that's an objectively terrible contract for a 32-year-old, pitcher. And I think lastly, the only way they can salvage this offseason is if they sign two of the major free agents left and just go completely all in to win the World Series next year. And if they don't do that, there's just no hope to salvage what they just screwed up.
After these deals were made, I had a moment where I was laughing because I was watching MLB Network, and with all due respect, all those guys there, they said that, they have Shelby Miller now. They're the favorites in the NL West, and I don't understand how you could say
he's a very overrated player.
I don't understand how you could say he's a great pitcher, but I don't think he's the guy that everyone I think like you said, you could have gotten a Mike Leake and gotten very similar production out of Leake's arm instead. Overall, I think I just said kudos to John Hart, but I mean he did a great job when he was with the Indians, building the core of Tomey, Bell, Baerga, Ramirez, Alomar,
throwback.
Bell, and they won World Series after World Series. And now he has a shit ton of first rounders in the farm system right now. So
watch out for the 2018 Braves is what I'm hearing. In their new stadium too. We'll talk more about them when we talk about our teams of the week, of course, with them going forward.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
When you think about it in the sense that they traded Jason Hayward, who was 1 year from being a free agent, for what they just got, when you take it in that light, it even looks even better. It looks even better what their front office has done.
Oh, I agree completely.
And they also got a really good pitching prospect in that Jason Hayward deal from the Cardinals. So, kudos to them. I mean, they were really, next thing.
So now let's talk about our former most depressing team in baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies, who I'm proud to say are probably not the most depressing team anymore.
We have to choose a new one for 2016.
That's true. We'll do that coming up soon too. Yeah. They traded away Ken Giles and a young shortstop prospect to the Astros for Vincent Velasquez, Mark Appel, Brent Oberholzer, and 2 other minor league pitchers. So basically a 2-for-5 deal. That is an unbelievable return for a relief pitcher. I mean, he is a top-notch closer.
They have a really, really promising shortstop prospect as well.
But he's very young. That's very, very far down the road.
That's true, but I think that evens it out a bit more because I think that Astros give up a lot of their minor league depth and they kind of regain some of that depth back, which is important. I think it's just an important distinction to be made.
Yeah, but still, that's a really good return for the Phillies. I mean, the Astros can afford it. They can afford this, and their minor league system is still really strong.
Yeah, that's the big thing. They have so much depth in the minor league system. But I really like Ken Giles, but I like this return for the Phillies overall.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only thing is that there's definitely a chance that Mark Appel is one of the biggest busts of all time because he's done nothing so far. He's proved nothing so far in the minor leagues. I think that's something you have to be worried about. I don't think what I'm trying to say by that is that his value isn't really one of a number 1 overall pick. It's just more of a top 10 system prospect. I think that's an important distinction.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't like trading Dansby Swanson is my point.
Right. And the thing with Appel is, obviously the results have not been what they want, but he's still a big physical guy that has a good fastball, and the Phillies are hoping to salvage something from him. But, that's what the Phillies need right now. They need a lot of options. They need a lot of minor league depth right now, and kudos to them. They've done a really good job with that throughout the course of this offseason, and even at the trade deadline, getting some prospects there for Cole Hamels and all that good stuff.
I love them finally deciding to get younger. It's actually like what's made them not depressing for me.
Yes. I think the age of the depressing Phillies is starting to see the light. Alright, let's talk about the Pirates now. They traded away Neil Walker, their longtime second baseman, for the Mets' Jonathan Neese. It makes perfect sense for both sides. I think nobody has any problems with this deal that I've heard, so.
I really like this deal for both teams. For the Mets, it does improve their infield, which they needed after they couldn't sign Zobrist. And for the Pirates, I think when you look at John Neese, I don't know what it is about John Neese. I already said this before, but I really like John Neese because he's a guy that goes out there, pitches innings. They're not Cy Young innings by any standards, but there's innings that get the job done for your team. And he's, not to mention the Pirates have the best pitching coach in the league. And I'm kinda interested to see what, he would do with John Neese to see if he could make him that much better. If he could make him better.
Mm-hmm. And, obviously Neil Walker is one of the, he's one of the baseline second basemen, it seems, for the last many years. He'll put up some decent power numbers, nothing fantastic by any means, but he'll play solid defense, he'll put up solid numbers consistently. I think that's what the Mets need. They haven't had that from that, Daniel Murphy. Daniel Murphy's been really, back and forth kind of. And, he's a pure hitter, Daniel Murphy is, and he's gonna make some money somewhere else, but this was a better move for the Mets, I think, than trying to re-sign him.
I think the only, issue that you can make the point, and I'm not sure if this even is an issue, is that Walker's a free agent at the end of the year. But they have a really good middle infield prospect, I believe, who's in AAA right now. So that's not even that big of an issue. And it'll probably force them to sign either Bartolo or another temporary fifth starter until,
Wheeler's back. Is that what you were gonna say? Alright. So I think with that deal, you cut out there. Sorry. I finished your sentence for you.
Okay.
I think you were gonna say till, Zach Wheeler came back.
Yeah, that's what I was going to.
Alright, perfect. So, I think with that deal, good for both teams. Look for Jonathan Neese in your drafts next year. So, there you go. The last trade that we'll go kind of in depth about is back to the Cubs, and we kind of touched on this already. Trading Starlin Castro to the Yankees for Adam Warren and a player to be named later. The Yankees got...
It's Adam Warren and Brendan Ryan.
Okay, so there's the player to be named. It was named already, I guess. I was looking at a really dated article, I guess. So the Yankees addressed their middle infield need, and the Cubs added pitching depth, which is good. Do you think Adam Warren has any chance to be a starter on the Cubs?
Do they still have Kyle Hendricks?
Yes.
They do.
Then probably not. Even though I actually think he's better than Kyle Hendricks, but probably not. I think they're going to use him in the bullpen.
That's smart. I think that's where he is proven he can succeed. I think Castro really was not going to have a place with the Cubs, and we kind of talked about that. And the Yankees added a good bat to have in the middle infield. I think for the Yankees too, it gives them more options because they don't really have set players in the middle infield. I mean, Didi Gregorius is not gonna be their long-time shortstop. I can't imagine unless he gets a lot better. So, I think Castro fills that void for now. And they really, you think about it, the Yankees just traded away a relief pitcher and a backup middle infielder, so I think it's fine.
I agree.
I don't think Castro's going to be like a stud or anything.
Sorry. What did you say? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I don't think Castro's going to be a stud with the Yankees, but I'll take it.
He can. I mean, I think it's kind of interesting is that there's been a lot of value from the Cubs for a three-time All-Star second middle infielder who's young and who led the NL in hits in as recently as 2011. But at the same time, I do see the fact that Castro is probably one of the most inconsistent and frustrating players in the major leagues. And I wouldn't be surprised if that really limited his market. That's why they had to settle for a very solid pitcher, but one with really not much excitement going from him. He kind of, Warren is what he is. He's a guy who's not gonna lose you games, but he's probably not gonna win too many games for you by himself.
That's true. Alright, so let's really quick talk about Aroldis Chapman and his situation, which is really weird. So I remember that day, the Dodgers looked like they were about to have a trade done to get Aroldis Chapman, which there were no details on beyond that. And then there were reports of Chapman having some off-field issues. I'll just say that. So his situation, it really changed a lot in the last couple of weeks. He's probably going to be facing a suspension of some kind, and we still don't know what team he's going to end up on. I mean, the Reds might just end up holding him for now, hoping his situation changes. I mean, his value is still really high, but hoping the waters settle down around Chapman so they can trade him away for a proper return.
I think I read somewhere that they think the Dodgers leaked that information because they want to decrease his value, or decrease his trade value to make him, So, because apparently the Reds have known about it for months and they just kept it they didn't disclose it, which is an interesting moral thing.
I read somewhere, I forget which team it was, but one of the teams that was trying to trade for him, went out of trying to trade for him when they found out that deal, like a couple months ago. I forget when it was, or who it was, but, I remember I read that.
Okay. I believe you.
Yep.
Yeah, so Chapman, he's gonna pitch somewhere.
Yeah.
He's too good to not pitch, but his situation has definitely changed a lot, and we'll see what happens to him, what team he ends up on. Should be interesting, though, to watch going forward. Alright, so the rest of these deals we got here, there's a lot to get through. We're just gonna go ahead and rattle these off and basically say, do we like it, or nah, it's a terrible deal. Alright. First, Red Sox trade Wade Miley and another relief pitcher for the Mariners, Carson Smith and Roenis Elias.
I think it's absolutely a good trade, better trade for the Red Sox. Carson Smith's
way better trade.
Solid young reliever. And, Elias is, at this point, unless, Wade Miley really returns to his, 3 years ago pitching ability in the spacious Safeco Field, I think that's clearly a win for I think Elias is clearly, at this moment, I think Elias from Miley basically is what I'm trying to say, would have been a borderline, probably fair deal. I'm really surprised that the Red Sox were able to get out a relief pitcher on top of that.
And he's a good relief pitcher too.
Yeah, it seems strange because Elias and Miley are probably borderline equivalent at this moment. So unless Wade Miley really does a lot better, really returns to the direction people thought he was going a couple of years ago, it just seemed like an obviously better deal for the Red Sox. The Mariners are like the Diamondbacks light. They make so many bizarre trades.
That's true too. I like it for the Red Sox. I don't like that Smith is not gonna be able to close though. Sad face.
Did they trade Phil Wilson too? The Mariners?
They are just dealing their whole bullpen. They got rid of some other relief pitchers in that deal with the Rays.
Jerry DePoto,
way back
what
when.
are you doing?
What was that? What was that trade? Oh, that was a trade, for, Camp Carnes, whatever.
Yeah, and they got rid
Known as
of
Martin.
Danny Farquhar in that deal. Alright, so that's our opinion on that trade. The Brewers trade Adam Lind to the Mariners for a few prospects. Nothing major. But Adam Lind, you like that for the Mariners?
I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's probably the best trade they've made all season, considering, like we just said, what we were just talking about. Plus, I just looked it up. Wilhelmsen basically for Leonis Martin is a pretty bad use of value. I mean, Wilhelmsen's a great relief pitcher, and you trade him for a fifth outfielder is pretty strange. But as I was saying, I think that's a fine trade. Adam's very solid bat. Has some health issues every year, but it's a solid first baseman.
Mm-hmm. I like that too. I think it's smarter than trying to sign a Chris Davis. So
yeah,
there you go.
I like
Farbode, any thoughts?
Same.
Good.
I don't want to repeat anything, so yeah.
I think you'll have words for this next one, Farbode. Angels trade Trevor Gott for the Nationals' Eduardo Escobar. No, that's not his name. Yunel Escobar. Sorry. I was,
Escobar.
Too many Escobars in the league. Yunel Escobar goes to the Angels. So,
no me gusta.
No,
For the
you
Angels.
don't like it
Eduardo
for the
Escobar is the
Angels.
shortstop for the Twins.
Yes, I knew that.
Oh.
I think the Angels.
I don't know,
The Angels
That's the
have
English
interesting
thing.
value of their own young pitching because
I don't
Fluky really good year last year. I feel like.
Yeah, and he's not a good defender either. He's the only thing it gives us is the opportunity to not sign David Freese.
That's not good.
That's exactly. I don't like this deal at all because Gott's 23. I think he has a chance to be pretty good if he takes his walk rate down, and he's under club control till 2022.
That's a lot of years.
I don't like this at all because I feel if they were gonna make a deal, he would be involved. So I already knew he was gonna be gone if they were gonna make a trade, but not for Yunel Escobar. I thought they would have had to being something with more value than giving up your last young prospect with any bit of value.
Very dramatic. I agree, though.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's an angry Angels fan.
Angels, I give you a D this offseason for your trades.
Thank you.
Anyway, next we have the Mets signing Asdrubal Cabrera. I got that name right. 2 years, $18.5 million. Add some more depth to that infield. He might be their starting shortstop, depending on how Flores is doing.
He should be.
You think just 100% he should play over Flores?
Yeah.
Okay. I think he'll definitely be able to relieve Flores on many days against tough right-handed pitchers. I think Flores still has some good potential, though. He's one of the few shortstops with any kind of power potential, so you have to keep that in mind. He'll definitely play some third base for David Wright, though, to relieve him a little bit. Also, on the Mets, what do you guys think of Michael Kadire retiring?
That was interesting because I did not expect. I don't think a lot of people expected that, especially because he still had a good amount of money left on the table for this next year. But I mean, if he can't play,
basically, he said if he's not able to give 100% on the field, which he doesn't feel he's able to, he doesn't really want to be on the field. So, I mean, there's that. I love Michael Kadire in general, but I love Michael Conforto even more. So, the job is his.
You could just go on the
100%
DL
now.
and make $12 million for the whole year.
I would have done that.
Yeah, you could just go on the DL and make $12 million the whole year.
I mean, I guess it's clearly not about the money with him. I mean, he'll get some kind of payment for his buyout or whatever, but it's a bit strange, nonetheless.
Yes.
Next, we have the A's trading away Brett Lawrie for the White Sox. I don't even know. Their names don't matter.
Oh,
2 nobody prospects.
This trade is so annoying.
I'm so confused.
I feel like Levine just tries to annoy us. we're just trying to avoid fans who pay attention with these trades. I mean, it's just bizarre. Like,
We can have another Billy Bean roast.
they treated Josh Donaldson for nothing. That's basically what he's trying to tell us.
They traded Josh Donaldson for.
They also got Josh Donaldson for nothing.
They traded their MVP for nothing. I mean,
balance was restored though, really, because they got him for nothing, and then balance was restored.
Yeah, but he
They're
was
back to
nothing
nothing.
when they got him, and then he suddenly started being really good.
Yeah, I mean, I want more than anything for the A's to have some of these nobody prospects turn into the next Brandon Mosses and Josh Reddicks and Josh Donaldsons, but...
Okay, Josh Reddick was not a nothing, but okay.
Okay, yeah, he was not a nothing. Brandon Moss was a nothing, though. Josh Donaldson was a nothing. Jed Lowry, You know, that's what they do. They open eyes, but they haven't done anything yet. You have to see them on the field for them to open any eyes. So right now, disappointed. Anyway, the Padres traded away Jed Jerko to the Cardinals for center fielder John Jay.
Judging by the fact that the Cardinals Cardinals tried to get someone, Jerko's going to be the next MVP. Jay's going to retire after this year.
Don't forget though that the Padres also gave him like $16 million to pay for half of Jericho's contract. I mean, it's a difference.
Nothing, no man.
But just in terms of player value,
like they kind of.
What do you think?
Like that took the trade from like.
Okay, well, you cut out a little bit there. I'm gonna go ahead and say now, you cut out again.
Into a trade that's probably.
We got almost none of that.
Sorry.
You cut out. Please.
We didn't get any of that.
I think adding that money to that trade changes that from a good deal for the Padres and a deal for the Cardinals to a good deal for the Cardinals and an deal for the Padres, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I mean, Jay's a fine player. I don't think he should be starting every day for really any major league team. And Jericho, I mean, he's a disappointing top prospect who has potential somewhere. But now they're paying him not to play for them, which that seems like a screw up to me.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like they had like some great infield prospects coming up to replace him with either.
True. I feel bad for Colton Wong.
No.
Takes bats away from him.
I don't think he's gonna play that much this year.
Well, I think he's gonna play against lefties. Isn't that why they got him?
Jericho?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's gonna play against lefties instead of Wong.
Is he good at hitting lefties? I don't know anything really about him except.
I mean, he's a right-handed hitter. Wong is not hit lefties very well in his career. They're not gonna give him a chance to, it seems like, so. There you go. Platoon situation, it seems. I think it's pretty clear cut. So, that's all for that. The Royals signed, Joakim Soria and Chris Young. Soria is another big piece in that bullpen. Young is gonna keep being that fifth starter, I guess. So, Soria's an interesting one back in Kansas City. Now their bullpen is a lot different than it was, but it's still just as good as it was with the Holland Davis.
Wait,
Pereira.
Is a free agent next season?
No. Maybe. No. I don't think so.
I was recently becoming a free agent.
I think it's 2017 that he does.
Okay. Never mind then, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. I think, the Royals adding depth, that's what they do. They just build the bullpen and then worry about everything else later. It seems to work for them so far.
I mean,
yeah.
It's kind of weird to see the Royals spend money, but, I mean...
They're not really spending that much money.
But they used to spend absolutely zero, so...
That's true.
It's hard to get used to, and they're kind of a team that's, making moves, like, for being cheap, kind of, but the past 2 years, I remember last offseason, everyone panned their moves on, Volquez, Rios, and Kendrys Morales, and all those turned out pretty darn good, and I think this coupled with Chris Young were solid deals.
Yeah. Alright, so let's move on to the Nationals. They signed Sean Kelly and Oliver Perez to some pretty small contracts, 3 years 15, 2 years 7. They also signed Yusmeiro Petit to a 1-year deal. They haven't announced his salary yet. Those are 3 good arms for them. And you add that to Trevor Gott.
Yeah.
How do you like the Nationals bullpen right now?
I think their bullpen their bullpen's pretty good for the future. Like, especially, I already said Gott is locked down till 2022, and they have other young guys. I like Petit especially.
Mm-hmm. So is Storen as good as gone?
What?
In your mind?
I heard that wrong.
What?
I heard that wrong.
Is Storen as good as gone in your minds?
Wait, why would he be gone?
Are they going to trade him? Almost certainly now.
Wait, why would they trade him? They have a better closer now.
What?
What? I don't understand how they have
The Nationals are going to trade away Drew Storen.
Why would they do that?
When they trade like Papelbon.
Well, I think they like Papelbon more for whatever reason.
They definitely don't like Papelbon.
Yeah,
I heard a complaint against them for treating him like a child, I think.
I don't know. I heard reports that they were going to shop him during the winter meetings.
Yeah,
I think Storen's more likely to leave.
They've been shopping Storen for like 7 years now.
It's weird. I think they just want to get the most value from him now. Pretty much, and they're kind of ignoring the fact that he is a good pitcher. It's all about value with these guys. Anyway, the A's also signed some relief pitchers. They signed Ryan Madsen and John Axford.
They gave Ryan Madsen so much money.
I hate you, Ryan Madsen.
3 years, 22, yeah.
4 years.
I hate Ryan Madsen.
Absolutely bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Is that
Yeah.
someone else to a big deal too? There's a third guy.
Other than Madsen and Axford?
I thought there was another one.
Who else was there?
I thought, in my mind, there's another one.
Did it happen in real life or just in your mind?
You know, I think you're right. I think it was just Axford. My bad.
Okay. Well, anyway, 2 relief pitchers that I think they're just going to try to squeeze any value out of them during the first half of the season and then trade, possibly. So, that's.
Why would you want Madsen's contract? It's so big for like the player that he is.
I don't know. They wanted him for whatever it would take. They wanted to see if they could milk any value out of him and trade him away. I have no idea. That's the only logical path in my mind. But if not, we'll see how that plays out. The Astros signed Tony Sipp to a 3-year, $18 million contract too. He's one of the better left-handed relievers in the game. Good for the Astros.
Good for them. That's great for them. I really like Sipp.
Alright. Tigers sign Mark Lowe to 2 years, $11 million. Good contract.
Yeah.
They also traded for Justin Wilson from the Yankees for a couple prospects. So they're working on their bullpen. They addressed their problem. They got K-Rod, they got Lowe, they got
to do it.
Dombrowski's gone, and they're finally starting to.
Yeah, I mean they tried to get Joe Nathan. It just did not work at all. They tried to get Java Chamberlain for a discount, and that did not pan out for them. I mean, they just have been trying and failing for a long time. So, there's that. Our last little relief pitcher, Mariners signed Steve Cishek, who only 2 years ago was a really good closer. So, we'll see. We'll see if they can get anything out of him. They also have Joaquin Benoit, so saves will be split among them, I'm sure, depending on who does better.
Yes.
Let's talk about our teams of the week really quick, though. The Cubs and the Braves.
As if we haven't
talked about them quite a bit already. But, you know, the Cubs, obviously, they're here. They were in the postseason this year. They did very well. They've added some pieces. Where do you see them next year? Exactly. Where do they get to?
The Braves?
No, the Cubs. Pay attention.
They're gonna be probably, I don't know. I'm sorry. It's too early for me to decide where it's gonna be. I think you still have to wait where Cueto ends up, with where Alex Gordon ends up. You know, I have to wait for the last couple, where Kenta Maeda ends up.
Okay. Well, thanks for playing along.
Sorry.
Forbode.
I know it's a cop-out, but...
It is. Forbode?
Do I want to cop out, or do I want to actually just make some random pick that won't matter until
just make the pick, damn it.
They're going to be in contention. How about that?
No, that sucks. Okay. I say they get to the wild card game. I think they're going to be the wild card game fodder this year, though. I think they're going to be stopped short by somebody. I don't think Jake Arrieta is going to do it again, sadly. I think they're going to run into another really good team in that wild card, so that's my prediction.
Like missing something. I can't put my finger on it. I know it sounds like stupid, but like, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's hard to get used to the Cubs, I guess, being like a really, really good team. And I don't know, man. They're gonna strike out a shit ton. That's for sure.
Okay, yes, they strike out a lot, but I think if you look at just their like the players that they have,
their bullpen's kind of underwhelming.
I think once you look at the players that they have, if they fix their bullpen, like you said, they have one of the most promising young teams that we've seen for a while, and I'm very excited just to watch the Cubs.
Yeah. Just look at their corner infielders, and that'll give you some faith.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's do the same thing with the Braves. Where exactly do they end up next year? And then for fun, just because the Braves, will ask where do they end up exactly in 2018 when a lot of this talent comes to fruition. So this next year,
I'm gonna say they're gonna be with the Phillies in the bottom of that division. Actually, no, I guess the Marlins are gonna be. Marlins, Phillies, Braves are all gonna be duking each other out for last in that division. But in 2018, I think they will lose to the Giants in the NL Championship.
Well, it is an even year.
Yeah, because it's an even year. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's perfect explanation.
So that's my pick.
I like the even year part for 2018, so I'll stick with yours for even year. They're a little used to the Giants in one of the playoff series. But I think for this year, they're not a great team this year. I think they're going to be in the bottom three.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say they're going to end up in fourth place.
I don't think they're going to be last place. I think they're going to be either, yeah.
Okay, thanks. And then in 2018, I still like the Nationals in 2018. I'm going to say they get to the wild card game, and I'm going to say they lose in the wild card game.
And the Nationals have Giolito coming up, and what's his name? Is it Trey Turner?
Trey Turner's already here. He's going to play.
Oh, he's up, yeah. So that's exciting too.
They have a nice young player named Bryce Harper too.
Who?
I heard he's okay, but I've never seen him, personally.
He hasn't really broken out yet,
Yeah. Just an underrated, low key kind of guy.
Yeah.
I heard he has no personality at all. He's quiet, stoic, Joey Votto type of guy.
Boring hair.
Yeah, sure. But no, black. Hate
the NL East is going to be pretty freaking fun to watch.
You guys want to, before we wrap this up, do you want to maybe go through maybe like the top?
What?
Sorry,
what?
I hung up on accident. Do you want to maybe go through like the top free agents and just predict what team we can see them going to? Basically,
I would like to sing happy birthday to our podcast, but I guess we can do that instead.
Okay, if you don't want to, I'm just thinking of an idea.
I'm just kidding. I mean, I guess we've already made predictions of where they'll end up. I guess they slightly changed from before.
Yeah.
Just like,
I'll rattle some off. Cespedes.
Angels.
Not the Angels.
Not the Angels.
Thanks, Farpoad. That is not a team.
Nice. I don't have a prediction except for me.
I'll still say Dodgers.
Next.
What?
Orioles.
Chris Davis.
Well,
we said Upton.
Chris Davis.
No, this is not working out. I think.
What?
I think this is not going well. We're not prepared for this. We're not prepared for such.
I'm so confused.
Treachery.
I said Chris Davis. No one has any.
No, I said Justin Upton first. We both answered that, and you didn't. And then you said Chris Davis.
I said Chris Davis first.
No, I think the record will show that I said Justin Upton first. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna call it quits here. I'm gonna end this thing.
Okay, wait. Jeff Francoeur.
The Marlins. Him and Jeff Mathis are gonna lead that team.
Oh yeah.
All right. Good question though.
Willie Bloomquist.
I thought we were done with this. God dang it. Okay. Anyway, thank you. Wow.
Jeff Mathis is a free agent actually, so he may not be on the Marlins next year.
Are you gonna let me speak or not?
How about?
No.
I'm trying to thank viewers for 1 year of our podcast. If that is too much to ask.
Say I'm sorry.
How do you thank nobody?
You talking to a microphone, of course. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us on this edition of War and Peace Baseball Podcast, and thank you for supporting us our first year altogether, even though that is pretty much nobody. But
hey, we got a comment.
We did get a comment or two throughout the course of 33 or so podcasts.
Yeah, pretty good.
I think the most important thing is that I had a lot of fun doing this the whole year. Yeah. I think I won't speak for you guys, but you guys enjoyed this, did you not?
Yes.
No.
Okay, well, we may see some roster changes then if Rudy has some attitude problems, but yeah. Anyway, hopefully we continue to do this for many more years to come. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter and tweet us at WPB_podcast. You can email us at warandpeacebaseball@gmail.com. Check out our website in the link below. There's a lot of good stuff there too, a few articles. And Rudy is yawning this one out. Alright. Thank you again. As always, Farbode.
Peace.